Hey guys, let's talk about Marvel, specifically Doomsday. All right, recently Marvel's been releasing a number of new mini trailers to tease the coming Doomsday movie. It's been in production for a while now, and it looks like the Russo brothers are well on their way to finishing up this new film. So the question is it going to be any good? Are we going to like it? I gotta say, I am encouraged by what I see in the trailers. Recently, Marvel, I think, has had a number of missteps. Just tracing back a few years, after Endgame, I think the movie sequence, I can't remember if it's phase five, phase four, whatever phase it was, to me, it stumbled quite a bit. And there are some reasons for that, which I'll talk about. But I think it lost its way. The TV shows, especially, were really hot and cold for me. Did not enjoy the different TV series. There were a couple that were good, which I think had a chance, but then a few were just not good. And I think if I could distill it down to what I think was wrong, is that they went too far from the source material. I think it's a good idea, yes, to expand the audience, to change directions, to surprise us, of course. But I also think it's a bad idea to offend your core audience and to change significant things for no reason other than to please a phantom modern audience, which I think was a mistake. Uh, Chris Gore from Film Threat is known for saying that one of the biggest mistakes Disney ever made with Star Wars, or at least trying to turn Star Wars into a girl brand, is going to be one of the most significant financial failures of a company in modern entertainment history. And I think he's right. And I think the same kind of applied to Marvel. Trying to turn a boy brand into a girl brand was a mistake. And like I said, I think it's important to think about things that could be changed in the Marvel series and the Marvel stories. But they made such significant changes. I think they overcorrected for a problem that honestly, I don't think existed. So if we can return to form and we can clearly define what makes these characters cool, then maybe we have a chance to tell a good story again. So I want to revisit and talk about specifically the trailers a little bit and see what you think. Um, so one of my favorite parts of Avengers Infinity War was Thor's arc. He had such an interesting arc and development from, you know, Thor had so many bad things happen to him over time. And the way he kind of introduced himself to the Guardians and explained, yeah, my brother died, my dad died, my sister tried to kill me, and so on. Made for some fun dialogue with the Guardians. But it's true. Thor went through a serious story arc and development arc. One of my favorite scenes is when he finally gets Stormbreaker. He uses all his strength to fight the sun and to get back his power and try to get Stormbreaker, only to fail again, right? So again, Thor is a really interesting and unique, and I think human character that shows his development from young, arrogant hero, God, to then later on in Infinity War and Endgame, kind of lost his confidence and was restored again. Since then, we've had, I think, Love and Thunder was the Thor movie that came out after Endgame. And honestly, I liked it. I don't understand all the hate, I guess, for Taika Waititi. I enjoyed um, Ragnarok and I enjoyed Love and Thunder. I like the humor and I like the seriousness, but also I do understand people who critique and say, "Hey, let's make Thor serious again." I think Hemsworth is up to the task, so I'm excited to see what happens. His trailer that came out recently didn't have a lot, but it did have an interesting prayer from Thor to Odin to restore his strength, and I liked it. Now, one of my favorite scenes in Endgame of all time is how it treated Captain America and was all set up in Avengers 2, right? When they were playing around trying to lift the hammer. Um, and the only one that even made it budge was Steve Rogers. And to me, that is true to his character. Steve Rogers is all about character, character of heart. And that's what makes him who he is. And the fact that being a human, he could still wield uh, Mjolnir is awesome. And so to me, I love that payoff. And I know in the theater, everyone cheered to see Steve Rogers wielding that hammer and taking on Thanos. A human being taking on Thanos was a cool, heroic moment. And not long after, he followed up with his dramatic, standing up and fighting regardless of the consequence to himself. And I think that is Steve Rogers. And that was displayed really well by the Russo brothers in Endgame. I'd love that part about Steve Rogers is that he would never give up, literally, will not give up. He will be beaten, broken, does not matter. He will not stop. And I love that about his character and loved seeing that in Endgame. And of course, the best payoff at all of all time for Steve Rogers was the final scene where he got his dance with Peggy Carter. You knew it was coming, you hoped it was coming, but he got his happy ending. And so that was a beautiful scene for him in Endgame and the way they tied up that loose end and finished off that movie. So where we leave off now in the Endgame in the Doomsday trailer is you thought maybe Steve was going to be dancing with Peggy, but he turns around and he's got a baby boy. Or I assume it's a boy. Don't know. But either way, what a cool father moment for him. Let's see where his character goes. So I like that tease in Doomsday. Let's see what that's all about. Beyond that, we have those intervening movies and TV shows that were really lame. And for reasons that I don't understand entirely, Marvel decided to go another way. They focused on the MCU, as Nerdrotic and others say, and I think that was a huge mistake. Um, you don't need to change your core characters to meet a new audience. I think the fatal flaw is that Marvel maybe thought that they could change the core elements of their characters or replace characters with other characters and people would still watch. And that's not true. You got to kind of keep your original characters and add new ones and associate them with new ones and try new storylines and new things. But why go back and change the core characters and the core history that was already there all along and inspired the fans from the beginning? So, big mistake. Now, Fantastic Four came along this summer, and for me, it was kind of mixed. I enjoyed it. I loved the fact that they put it into the time period. I thought that was excellent. I really did want to see the Fantastic Four in their original 1960s style element. And I think they did that. And they kept the stakes kind of small. It was all about the Fantastic Four, their family dynamic, and Galactus. Now, ultimately, I thought the Thing was a little underpowered, which didn't match up with my thoughts about who the Thing was, but maybe it was more comic accurate. Not really sure. I definitely think that Pedro Pascal is overexposed and we don't need him in every single franchise, but he acted well. He did good. And so as a team and a family, I thought they really did come together and make a good, decent movie. And it was a reasonable homage to the original Stanley and Kirby. And it was about time that we got that kind of a movie using the characters, the style, and the storylines that came from the original comics. And so that was exciting to see. So that was building up. I thought that was good. Now we get to the last and final Doom's teaser trailer I just saw, and I gotta say, it solved a problem I had forgotten about. Um, and I think it was X-Men 3, Last Stand. The most needless death of all time from the Marvel characters was Cyclops. Uh, I loved the X-Men movies from the beginning. I stuck with them. They were the only comic book movies we had for a while. And the fact that they played Cyclops like such a chump and he dies in that movie bugged me so much back then. It really bothered me because Cyclops, like Steve Rogers, was kind of the core of that team and the leader. And being a human, I mean, he doesn't have invulnerability, but he has human strength. But his mutant power is obviously off the charts. And the fact that they could never quite get him right and use him to his full potential, and then to just kind of throw him away for that storyline bugged me so much. And so I was so disappointed when they killed off Cyclops. But then to see this, holy cow, that is exactly the Cyclops I have been looking for a long time. I had no idea he was missing. And when they plopped him out in this most recent trailer, that was exciting to see. So, man, Thor, Captain America, Cyclops, and of course, in this trailer, they had Professor X and Magneto, all of the Fox X-Men characters coming back. Yes, yes, more please. Show the character, the original character, in all their glory, doing their super thing, in a dramatic way, being heroic. Is the formula that complicated? You don't have to change it. You don't have to change who they are. You don't have to change their race or their gender or anything. No, just let them be heroic, using their superpower to do something good and dramatic and sacrificial, whatever it is. Love it. Want more of it. Please, Marvel. Stop mixing um, everything up and trying to create something else. Go back to the beginning and let's see more of it. So, that's my opinion. I'm liking where these little teaser trailers are going. It seems like fan service a little bit, of course, but hey, these are the core characters. That's the secret. Go back to your core characters, show them doing what they do best, remind us of what we loved about the comics originally, and you'll have a win. All right? If you try to infuse modern styling, and by modern, I mean contemporary ideas about things. If you change core story elements or character traits, if you weaken the character by watering down the drama of what's happening to them, then it's going to be bland and totally unnecessary, and you're going to fail. So I have high hopes for Doomsday. My only caution is they have so many characters in it. Could it be too overwhelming? Could it be too busy? Could there be too many mixed up threads? And I'm not a fan of the multiverse, so I don't know how they're going to bring all these characters together without the multiverse. But hey, I'm encouraged. It's always been Marvel for me, baby. Make mine Marvel. I'm in. Keep it up. Love it, Russo Brothers. Hope I see more.